Hey everybody, so I've gone ahead and started the painting process on here, and I just wanted to do a quick update on this to show you what I've got. I did base coat the entire thing white. I used the Army Painter primer, and then I went over it with a burnt umber wash that I made, and I'll show you that in just a minute here. This is ultramarine blue. It is a generic paint, but it matches the color close enough that when I'm done with the shading and everything on top of it, it'll still look the correct color on here. But just wanted to show you everything on here so you can kind of get an idea of what the finished product's going to look like. And now all of these are magnetized, so it will come off. Very easy to work with on there like that. And found that it's very nice when I'm actually painting it. I can kind of paint it and then just sort of magnetize it on here to my lamppost. Let it dry out that way. And the other sponsing comes off as well. You can sort of see the whole thing on here. Now I haven't gone through and painted everything yet. I've just started the preliminary paints for the base coat of everything just to make sure that it all is kind of primed and ready. What I'm going to start doing next, and I will do the vines last, so what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to start on weathering, and I'm going to be applying some metallic silver colors on here. And then over the whole thing I'll be doing a rust, and I'll show you all the paints in just a moment on here too. And I will be applying also some of the transfers. I'm planning on putting one of them back here on the back hatch, and a few other ones on the chassis itself. Just gonna let you see, I did do a rough paint coat on the bottom of it. Now I'll weather this whole thing when it's done, and I'm probably going to end up applying a kind of a sandy paste to it to make it seem like the whole thing's been kind of traveling around through the dirt some. But I'll show you guys the paints on here. Let me go ahead and get those out. Alright, so here is a selection of the paints that I'm planning on using for this project. And if I add any more to it, I will update later on to show you what I did. For this, I just got this yesterday, and I haven't used it yet, but I am planning on using this one here. It's gunmetal, and I've been told it is very similar to the bulk gunmetal, which is what I used previously. I'm all out of it now, but I'm planning on using that to highlight essentially all of the corners of the entire model are going to be highlighted. Because you got to remember, this thing's been laying in the ground. It's just kind of sitting there for years and years and years. It's completely weathered, so there won't be a whole lot of this blue paint showing through when it's done. So I'll have this on here. And let's see, I will have some of the highlights in this. This is Balthazar Gold. It's kind of a bronzish color, but I think it looks pretty well, and the model's pretty good on here. Here's an example of it. You can see right there on the ultramarine that I did. This Rise of Rust. This has an excellent effect once it's actually set. Now basically, it's not like a normal paint. I mean, it's real thick, so you just essentially kind of dry brush it or over brush it on. I'm going to be doing that very sparsely, but in a way that it'll actually show up on here. Let's see, for the plant colors, now these are some of the ones I wanted to focus on here. First off, this is a folk art paint. It's just sort of a generic, but it's ultramarine on here, which you can't really see the label too much. Brilliant Ultramarine. I've had this for a while, and I haven't used a whole lot of it, but I've got plenty of it left, and I plan on using that since I don't have to have mine stand out quite as much as it would if it was a pristine Ultramarine army. This whole thing's been weathered, so it doesn't matter quite that much with this one, so I go ahead and use this cheaper paint, because it'll go a long way with my army. And this I actually bought this brand new. I haven't used this one yet, haven't even opened it yet, but this is Burnt Umber by Americana, and I have always preferred that one for painting my trees. It's just got a really, really nice brown color to it. It also mixes really, really, really well into a wash. And I had just a little bit left in the bottom of this one. This is my old container of it. I went ahead and made a wash of it. You can't see too well on there, but it's already mixed up. Basically, when I want to use it, you shake it up, and I'll pour some into the cap, and then I'll just wash it onto the model. And kind of get an idea what the effect looks like. Looks like this. Comes on as a nice dirty look. You can see the skull was washed in that as well. Now for the other colors, you can't really tell on this. I used the same paint scheme on here that I used on my Mauler Fiend that was converted from a Dread Knight, but it is just black acrylic mixed with this folk art metallic kind of silver color. This paint is horrible. By itself, useless. Don't buy it. But I mix it with this black paint here, and it makes this kind of interesting, slightly shimmery looking metal surface. And that's what you can kind of see is looking at the gun here. This is the effect. Now this is painted over white, so I had a base coat white with sort of a with that burnt umber wash put over it. And this is the effect when that's done. I did put a little bit of the Riser Rust on it before I put the black and silver coat over it. And I will apply some more Riser Rust and get all the little details and stuff on it. This is sort of just all the undercoat for everything. Other paints that I've got here are, yeah, there it is. Caliban Green. That's going to be the main color for the leaves and things like that. Some Warpstone Glow for any highlights I need to do on the leaves, and possibly some lights on the Predator as well. This is a green shade. May not need to use that on here, but I've got it just in case. A couple other browns on here too, just in case I need those. Thor Brown and Scrag Brown. Alright, but I'm going to be possibly using a few other colors to do highlights, like maybe some yellows and maybe some reds. Won't need a whole lot though. There's not going to be a lot of lights on this vehicle. I've got one on the sensor there, maybe a couple of them on some of the bolters, and then the lights up in the front. That's about it though. So yeah, well, I'm about to run out of batteries here, and I'm probably going to start painting this tonight and get a little bit more done on it. And I'll give you guys an update once we get some more progress made.